Have you ever found yourself pulling away from social events, preferring the peace and quiet of your own home instead? As we grow older, our views on friendship and socializing often shift, making us value solitude more than before. In this video, we'll look at the journey from being outgoing to embracing alone time, why this change happens, and how it can bring more calm and satisfaction in our later years. Stick around until the end to uncover the 3 unexpected reasons why solitude could be the key to true happiness as we age. If you're not already subscribed, I suggest hitting the subscribe button and turning on notifications so you don't miss any videos. Your support means so much, and if you find value in this video, you can help spread these meaningful insights by liking and sharing it. If you enjoy the topic, comment with a 1, and if not, comment 0 to let me know how I can improve and make better videos for you. Now, let's dive in. When we were younger, there was a particular joy in inviting friends over for meals or simply to hang out and chat. It wasn't just about the food or the conversations, but the freedom we enjoyed in the comfort of our own homes. Unlike restaurants, which could sometimes feel restrictive or too formal, our homes provided a sanctuary where discussions could flow naturally without the limitations of public spaces. There was a special warmth in these gatherings, a feeling of closeness that strengthened our friendships. Whether hosting or visiting, each moment added to the bond we shared. Back then, we treasured these meaningful connections, believing that true friendships were among life's greatest joys. However, over time, I've observed a disappointing change. Those genuine friendships that once seemed so plentiful have become increasingly rare. The world has grown more cynical, and hypocrisy has, in many ways, become commonplace. It's heartbreaking to see how the once open-hearted individuals in our social circles have become more guarded, influenced by the insincerity around us. There's an old saying, those who are close to red become red, and those near ink become black. This rings true to me, as it reflects how even the most genuine among us can change based on our environment. As time goes by, we begin to protect our hearts more carefully, becoming less willing to invite others into our personal spaces. The open doors of our youth gradually close, not out of resentment, but for self-preservation. Take old Lay, for example. At 50 years old, he's embraced a more solitary life. There was a time when his home was always filled with friends, laughter, and conversation, but now he finds peace in quiet moments alone, whether it's staying home with a good book or taking a solo walk. Even when friends visit, they often meet in a restaurant, rather than in the intimacy of his home. If you're still watching this and find these lessons helpful, leave a 1 in the comments to let me know you're still here with me. A relative once asked Lay, "You used to be so welcoming, why have you grown distant?" His response was simple but profound. As we get older, our priorities shift. The things that used to bring us joy might not hold the same appeal anymore. For Lay, the calm of a quiet daily routine, the simple pleasures of tea, gardening or fishing, and cherished moments with family have become more important than the socializing that defined his younger years. Reflecting on this transformation, I feel both sadness and understanding. There's a certain melancholy in realizing that the friendships we once valued deeply may no longer be as vibrant. But at the same time, there's wisdom in recognizing that life is always changing, and so too are our needs and desires. Perhaps, in this quieter phase of life, we find a new kind of fulfillment, one that doesn't rely on the constant presence of others, but rather on the peace we cultivate within ourselves. Those who frequently come and go from our lives often reveal themselves to not be true friends. In fact, instead of engaging in polite insincerity, it's often more refreshing to embrace solitude. As we grow older, many of us settle into our own routines and habits, finding comfort in the familiar. For older people, visiting others becomes less appealing, not only because of the physical or emotional effort it might require, but also because it doesn't always align with the ease we crave later in life. Visiting others can sometimes bring unexpected challenges, making us more hesitant to impose ourselves on others. It's often said that less is more in old age, and this includes social visits, There are several reasons for this. Firstly, visiting can feel like an intrusion. Each household has its own dynamics, and as we age, we are no longer just individuals, but part of a larger family unit. Even when a friend extends an invitation, it might not reflect the sentiments of their entire household. Sometimes the invitation is offered out of politeness rather than a true desire to host. Consider Uncle Massachusetts from next door. He's a man who doesn't think much about social etiquette, but once ran into an old high school friend who lived nearby. Community connections can be heartwarming, but sometimes they come with unexpected challenges. In his 60s, Uncle Massachusetts felt a wave of nostalgia after reconnecting with an old classmate. His friend invited him over for drinks and meals, and since Uncle Massachusetts enjoyed drinking but lacked drinking companions, he eagerly accepted. Weekends became a regular time for Uncle Massachusetts to visit, bringing dishes and sharing drinks. However, he began noticing the uncomfortable expression on his friend's wife's face. Being an easygoing man, Uncle Massachusetts dismissed it and continued to enjoy himself. But after several visits, his classmate revealed the truth while Uncle Massachusetts was having a great time. The frequent visits were disrupting his wife and children's routine, making them unhappy. This realization was a tough blow for Uncle Ma, who had taken the invitation at face value, never suspecting his presence could be burdensome. Frequent visits, especially in old age, can create unforeseen problems. Loneliness is a major concern for many elderly people, and companionship offers a way to fill the long, empty hours. So, it's natural for older neighbors to visit each other regularly when they get along. On the surface, these visits seem to add meaning and joy to life, fostering a sense of purpose. However, this can be a double-edged sword. The more often people gather, the more likely their conversations may drift into uncomfortable or inappropriate topics, which can lead to misunderstandings or conflicts. When visiting becomes a routine, the initial excitement can wear off, leaving space for small disagreements or unspoken tensions to arise. Reflecting on these changes, I feel a deep sadness for how aging can alter our relationships. What used to bring joy, regular visits, shared meals, lively chats, can sometimes become a source of strain. Yet, there's wisdom in recognizing and adapting to these shifts. As we grow older, our priorities and desires change, and it's important to honor those changes, even if it means letting go of social habits that once shaped our lives. In fact, embracing solitude and simplicity can bring a peace of mind just as fulfilling as the friendships we once cherished. Take Miss Wong, for example, who lives upstairs. She often says, "I'd rather stay home watching dramas than visit others." Her words carry a mix of experience and sadness, stemming from a conflict with her daughter-in-law that changed her perspective on socializing. After retirement, Miss Wong was a lively and sociable person, joining the ladies in the community to dance in the square, a simple joy that brightened her days. On rainy days, when dancing wasn't possible, these women would take turns hosting each other, chatting and sharing meals. During one such visit to Mr. Lay's home, an innocent remark from Miss Wong led to unintended consequences. As they were sitting together, the conversation drifted to the sensitive topic of relationships with daughters-in-law. Feeling comfortable among friends, Miss Wong casually mentioned that her daughter-in-law wasn't very proactive around the house. She also noted how marrying an only child had its downsides, implying her daughter-in-law was a bit spoiled. The comment was lighthearted and more of an observation than a complaint. However, as often happens in close-knit communities, the story spread, and by the time it reached her daughter-in-law, it had transformed into something far more serious. The gossip claimed that Miss Wong was deeply unhappy with her daughter-in-law and believed she had married above her status. Living under the same roof as her son and daughter-in-law, this misunderstanding created a strained and awkward atmosphere at home. Miss Wong wanted desperately to explain herself, but her daughter-in-law's cold attitude made it clear the damage was done. To make matters worse, her son chastised her for gossiping, leaving her feeling isolated and misunderstood in her own home. This painful experience changed Miss Wong's outlook on visiting others. What had once been a simple, enjoyable way to spend time became a source of anxiety and regret. This story highlights how the dynamics of relationships can change as we age. Once carefree and sociable, we may find that the very interactions that used to bring us joy can sometimes lead to tension and discomfort. There is wisdom in recognizing these changes and learning to adapt, whether that means limiting social engagements or finding peace in solitude. Miss Wong soon realized that no matter how harmless a comment might seem, it could easily be misinterpreted or exaggerated, leading to unintended harm. This experience made her decide that it was better to maintain a bit of distance from others. She enjoyed dancing with her community but became more cautious about forming close relationships. She came to believe that sometimes it's wiser to speak less about others and simply go home after the dance. Deep down, she knew that too many words could easily get tangled, and the comfort of solitude began to feel more peaceful than the potential complications of socializing. If you're still watching this video and find these insights valuable, comment 2 below to let me know you're still with me. Thirdly, economic differences among people, even in the same community, can lead to psychological imbalances that strain relationships, even among the elderly. While living in the same neighborhood might create the appearance of shared experiences, the truth is that each family's financial situation varies widely. Some may live comfortably, while others might struggle to make ends meet. When families stay within their own spaces, these disparities remain private, and there's little reason for tension. But when people from differing financial backgrounds visit each other frequently, those differences become more noticeable, which can lead to discomfort. The wealthier family might unintentionally show a sense of superiority, making the less affluent feel inadequate or envious. This isn't just a concern for younger people, it affects the elderly too. Humans naturally desire a better life, and when faced with visible signs of someone else's success, it can be hard to avoid feelings of jealousy. What should be a simple visit can quickly turn into a mental burden, causing feelings of inadequacy or inferiority. Visiting wealthier households, especially frequently, can thus become counterproductive, creating a sense of division instead of fostering closeness. For the elderly, who are often set in their ways, these emotions can be especially hard to manage, sometimes leading to feelings of isolation or depression, the very opposite of what socializing is supposed to achieve. In light of this, it's often better to focus on living your own life peacefully, without the complexities that frequent visits can bring. By avoiding too many social visits, both as host and guest, you can maintain balance and avoid the stress of comparing yourself to others. After all, true peace of mind comes from being content with what you have, rather than constantly measuring your life against someone else's. We can also observe the dramatic changes in social behavior during festive periods, a stark contrast when we compare the past with the present. There was a time when New Year's celebrations were full of joy and excitement, marked by numerous visits to friends and family. The tradition of exchanging warm greetings, sharing laughter, and enjoying each other's company was the foundation of these celebrations. These gatherings were not just about formalities, but about genuine connection, reaffirming the bonds that held families and communities together. People eagerly anticipated these events, dressing in their finest and bringing gifts or special foods to share with loved ones. However, as the years have passed, this picture has gradually faded. Nowadays, during what should be the happiest time of the year, things feel different. Streets that were once buzzing with visitors moving from house to house are now quieter. Many people, instead of visiting or hosting gatherings, prefer to stay home, catching up on rest or scrolling through their phones, seemingly disengaged from the world around them. This subtle yet profound shift raises a thought-provoking question: have people lost interest in the traditional celebrations that once played such an important role in our lives? The answer isn't straightforward. It's not that people have completely lost interest in these traditions. The reality is much more complex and speaks to the overwhelming exhaustion that modern life imposes on everyone. The demands of today's world, work, family responsibilities, social pressures combine to create a life that often feels like it's moving at an unrelenting pace. In this context, adding more social obligations, even those rooted in tradition, can feel overwhelming. Emotional and physical fatigue leaves little room for the kind of genuine connection that once made these celebrations so meaningful. What was once a joyful occasion to anticipate has now become, for many, just another task to check off a long list of responsibilities. Instead of being a time to relax and enjoy, visiting others or participating in social activities can sometimes feel like a burden. The warmth and sincerity that used to define these interactions may now be replaced by a sense of duty or obligation. Life's fast pace has left many too drained to fully engage in the traditions that once brought them joy. This change points to a deeper societal shift. Visiting others, once a natural and fulfilling part of life, can start to feel empty when done out of obligation rather than genuine desire. Many feel that unless life slows down and people find a way to reconnect with inner peace and tranquility, these social rituals will continue to lose their significance. The modern world's hurried nature leaves little space for the deep, meaningful connections that once anchored such celebrations. The unfortunate reality is that life isn't likely to slow down anytime soon. If anything, it seems to be accelerating, with technology, work demands, and the constant pressure to stay connected and productive making the world feel like it never stops moving. As a result, more people are retreating into solitude, finding it a refuge from the unending demands of the outside world. Solitude, once something to be avoided, is now seen by many as a desirable state, a place to recharge, reflect, and find peace in a world that feels chaotic and overwhelming. In solitude, there is no need for pretense or superficial interactions. It offers a space where one can truly be oneself, free from the expectations and pressures of social conventions. For many, solitude has become the preferred lifestyle, offering balance and well-being in a world that often feels relentlessly demanding. While this change may seem sad to some, it's important to recognize that it isn't necessarily negative. It's part of the natural evolution of how we live and relate to each other, shaped by the demands and challenges of modern life. In this way, the growing preference for solitude may not be a retreat from life, but a way to find deeper meaning and fulfillment in a world that can often feel overwhelming. As a result, traditional celebrations, while still important, are increasingly becoming more personal and introspective. The grand gatherings and social events of the past are giving way to quieter, more solitary forms of celebration, where the focus is on personal reflection and peace, rather than on outward displays of festivity. This shift reflects a broader desire for simplicity and tranquility in an increasingly complex and fast-paced world. In conclusion, while traditional celebrations may continue, the way people participate in them is changing. The emphasis is shifting from external displays of festivity to more personal, introspective experiences. This change reflects a larger trend toward valuing peace, simplicity, and authenticity in a world that is constantly in motion. Solitude, once considered a lonely or undesirable state, is now embraced as a source of strength and clarity in a world that often feels chaotic and overwhelming. If you're still watching this video and find these lessons helpful, please comment 3 below to let me know you're here with me. Many people today discover that they prefer solitude over the complexities of social interactions. When we were younger, solitude often seemed foreign or uncomfortable. Back then, being alone was sometimes equated with being lonely or friendless, which could feel embarrassing or even shameful. But as we grow older, we realize that solitude is not about loneliness, it's about finding peace within ourselves. Living well for oneself amidst life's complexities is one of the greatest achievements. It's a realization that comes with age and experience, understanding that as life becomes colder and more demanding, our love for our family grows warmer and more precious. While it's perfectly fine to be indifferent to outsiders, our sincerity and warmth should be reserved for those closest to us. As we age, it's natural to maintain contact with only a few close friends and family members, but the need to visit others' homes becomes less appealing. If we wish to gather with loved ones, meeting in a neutral place outside the home is often better. This approach not only reduces the physical burden of hosting, but also alleviates the mental stress of feeling obligated to entertain. It's a win-win situation where everyone can enjoy each other's company without the pressures of hosting. Hosting guests, especially in old age, can be more exhausting than enjoyable. The pressure to accommodate others can lead to unnecessary troubles, and it's important to recognize that learning to be alone is a crucial skill, particularly as we grow older. As time passes, people around us may gradually drift away, whether due to distance, differences, or the natural course of life. Adapting to solitude helps us face the challenges of aging and prepares us to handle the future with grace and resilience. Being comfortable with our own company isn't just about enjoying peace, it's about cultivating a strong inner world that sustains us through life's inevitable ups and downs. In solitude, we find the strength to reflect on our lives, appreciate the moments we've lived, and prepare for what lies ahead. It's a space where we can focus on our well-being, free from the distractions and demands of social expectations. By embracing solitude, we empower ourselves to live more fully and authentically, valuing the relationships that truly matter while letting go of the superficial ones. In conclusion, solitude in old age is not something to fear or avoid. It's a powerful tool for maintaining mental and emotional health, allowing us to navigate the later stages of life with clarity and peace. Social interactions still have their place, but they don't need to dominate our lives or cause unnecessary stress. By choosing to meet loved ones in settings that don't involve the burdens of hosting, and by learning to be content in our own company, we can live a more fulfilling and less complicated life. Solitude, when embraced, becomes a mark of wisdom and inner strength, enabling us to face the future with confidence and serenity. As we reflect on everything we've discussed, it's clear that finding a balance between social interactions and personal peace is crucial, especially as we age. Now, we'd love to hear from you. What have you learned from this discussion? Is there an insight that resonated with you, something you plan to incorporate into your own life? Please share your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more content like this. Your support helps us continue bringing valuable insights to our community. Thank you for watching.